So will GTA 6 actually cost $100? So for the past week and a half, I've been seeing a lot of talk in the industry about the pricing of games, and some games developers have even intimated that GTA 6 potentially being $100 would be a good thing for the games industry. Now there's a lot to unpack here and a lot that I want to dive into, so this video might end up being a bit more of a rant about the industry than anything else, but hopefully you find it useful. But before we get into the video, I just need 15 seconds of your time. I'm now partnered with Cinch Gaming, so if you're looking for a custom controller, maybe with mouse click buttons, remappable back buttons, and overall an amazing build quality, make sure you check the link down below. And if you're on PC, make sure you check out their partner company Alt Customs to get yourself an awesome mousepad or keyboard. And using code Cyberboy, you can get yourself some savings, but all the links are down below. Now back to the video. So the general idea is a lot of people in the gaming industry are hoping that Rockstar would charge about $100 for GTA 6. And they have their reasons for wanting this to happen, but we'll get back to that later in the video. When it comes to the pricing of GTA 6, I still think that the game will be somewhere between $60 to maybe $80. But hypothetically speaking, if the game was $100 and just the story mode and the main parts of the game itself can see us through for months and months and months and months, maybe even years of playing, that is a good value proposition. However, if you've got to spend $100 on the PS5 and then the PS6 comes out, then the PC version, and then you've got to keep rebuying the game and spending $100 a time, that's maybe where the value proposition starts to decrease a little bit. Now that being said, I think we'll be kidding ourselves if we say the game won't be worth it. We know it will be. But for a game like GTA 6, anywhere between $60 to $100 would be considered a more acceptable price point because of the value we get out of it. If that game does last us 10 years, then maybe we can sleep a bit better with it being $100 compared to a game where they release a whole new game every year and we keep spending $100 a year on our gaming. But this is where I would differ from what appears to be the rest of the industry. Games using a price point as a justification to charge that price point, for example, other games developers saying that they hope the game will be $100 so they can charge $100 for their game, is where I completely lose faith in the industry. What I'm trying to say here is that if you're going to charge $100 for your game, you better make sure that game is worth $100. You shouldn't charge $100 because that's what you can get away with charging. This is starting to set a very worrying precedent for the industry where games developers will ramp up their pricing purely based on their ability to do so rather than the value proposition they have for the customer. Now this actually harks back to something that Strauss-Zelnick said. Yes, that's Strauss-Zelnick. Take two Strauss-Zelnick. This harps back to something he said about a year ago. He said that when it comes to pricing a game, you have to make sure that the value per hour of playing is worthwhile. For example, if you charge $100 for a game, but you only get maybe 30 hours of story out of it with no side missions, that is a bad value proposition. You have to make sure that if the customer's buying a game, they get their money's worth. They get the satisfaction and they get the longevity out of the game. Now at the time of this coming out, I did cover it on the channel, and a lot of people seem to confuse this with Strauss-Zelnick saying that they were going to charge per hour of playing. That's not what he was saying. What he was saying is if you work out how many hours you've played the game, does it work out like that was a good spend of money? For example, if you go out for a couple of drinks with your friends and you spend $7 on that hour, the 0.03 cents that you spent per hour playing GTA 6 will probably be worth it. I don't think that is necessarily a bad way to look at pricing a product. Are you getting value out of what you pay for it? That's how a lot of things are valued. But with games developers now looking to use GTA 6 as the benchmark of what they can actually get away with charging, this is very worrying, and this is something that we should call out games developers for. The pricing of games shouldn't be based on what other games developers are charging. The pricing of games should be based on what the game is worth to the person playing it. And gradually over time, we're starting to see this. Games are creeping up in price. However, despite popular opinion, and a lot of people like to hate the gaming industry for this, if you factor in the cost of inflation, I've used Grand Theft Auto, Red Dead, and Call of Duty as an example, games only cost about 2.5% more than what they cost 20 years ago, and that's factoring in obviously inflation. So the actual pricing of gaming isn't going up, but that being said, the cost to produce games is going up, and the complexity of games is also increasing. Whilst we have new technology to make game production faster, for example generating interiors through AI can speed up the process, they're not just making the game faster to make, they're then using the staff that they would have used on that to work on different areas of games. This is an example of why GTA 6 is probably taking so long. Of course there's other factors, developers, but it's something that's worth considering. But when it comes to games developers looking for how they can make a game as cheap as possible and charge as much as possible, that's where we should call out the industry. I think in a couple years time we'll be able to look back at this and see, after the release of GTA 6, what did games developers do with the pricing of their games? Did they institute a massive price hike, or did they actually go back to their core values of value proposition? Now, with this being said, GTA 6 very well could cost $100, and for a lot of people maybe that isn't affordable. However, please hear me out on this part of the video. If GTA 6 does cost $100, I don't think, and I could be wrong about this of course, but if, for example, we paid $100 for GTA 5, looking back, I'd say that would have been a really good purchase, because to this day, I'm still playing it. So for me, if I'd spent $100, in fact, I hate to say it, I bought it on the PS3, PS4, I bought it on PC, and I've bought it for the PS5. And still, out of all of that, I would argue that although that's a lot of money I've spent on GTA 5, I would still say for the time I've spent playing it, the thousands and thousands of hours, I'd say that that's worth it in my opinion. Which means that GTA 5, since it came out, has cost me $1.80 a month. In terms of value proposition for the amount of time I play it per month, I could argue that's a very good value proposition. But for example, the latest Call of Duty Black Ops, for me, it's a game I picked up, I heavily played it for about a week and a half, and I haven't touched it since. If that game was $100 or $200, I would say that the value proposition for that definitely wasn't worth it. So to conclude this video, I don't think that games should be based on what games developers can get away with charging. They should be based on the value proposition towards the customer, us. I'm really keen to hear what you guys think about this down below. Thank you for watching today's video. If you did enjoy, like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the next one.